Hey guys, welcome to episode 38 of the 1023 Souls Shop Talk podcast. It's an early morning for me. I just woke up about 20 minutes ago, and I'm half awake. I'll try to be coherent. I'm gonna have to be to keep up with Haas here. Today's episode is with Haas Evans with Extreme Shades in, is it Smithville, North Carolina?
Smithfield,
North Carolina. He's a previous cop turned tinting criminal. Can I say that? I'm just kidding. But he owns a tinting shop in Smithfield, North Carolina, and I thought this would be kind of cool. He live streams to his YouTube channel, which is Extreme Shades Window Tinting, I think is your YouTube channel, right?
That is correct.
And Facebook, which is Extreme Shades LLC on Facebook.
Yep, that is correct.
Which is just kind of neat. So this is really going to be more of a show. If you guys are just listening on the podcast platforms, I would jump on YouTube, check this out. Do you want me to send you this recording later so you can post it on your channel too, Haas?
You can, or I can just take the YouTube link once you post it and I can share it on there.
Okay. So you might be able to see it on his channel. You'll definitely see it on our channel on YouTube, but he's actually got a live GoPro like headset on. So he's going to go through the process of tinting the car, and we're just going to chat while he does it.
Yeah, so I'm not actually live streaming this on my channels. Just merely doing the video to talk to you. And then once if you want to save it and send it to me, I can upload it to my YouTube. But as far as my social media platforms, I can just take the link from your YouTube video and post it on there.
Okay. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about, if you don't mind. I want to go back to the beginning, back when your previous life. You all right with talking about that? Okay. And I want to talk about kind of like what the process is of tinting. That's something I have absolutely no idea how this works. Never done it, never seen it done, other than just a little bit of your videos.
Okay.
So previous to tinting, what was your job?
I was a police officer for the town of Selma. I did that for 8 years. Graduated basic law enforcement training in December of 2011. And then finally was able to get hired on in Selma October of 2012.
And in that time, you had started tinting like in your off time, like years before you actually quit and went full time, right?
Oh yeah. So roughly around 16 years ago, there was a company in Smithfield called Pro Tint Autographics that had posted a now hiring sign. I had only tinted one car in my lifetime at this particular time, and started working. Well, I spoke with them. They looked at what I had done to my 9080 clips, asked me if I was the one that tinted it. Yep. And the guy was like, hold on a second. He walked away from me, picked his phone up, came back and said, can you start tomorrow? And I have been tinting windows ever since. I guess he liked the work that I had done on my Eclipse. I guess it looked good enough for him to train me, because he actually obviously had to train me the ways per se.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it ever since. And in the meantime of me being in law enforcement, I was tinting windows on the side. And for 16 years, I've been tinting windows, vehicle wraps, graphics, anything with an adhesive, I can stick it.
So do you create wraps too? Like, do you do design and like printing of custom wraps? Or
I don't design them, and I don't have access to a printer. But hopefully y'all can see that. If not, I can lift the garage door up. There's my 2000 F250. It is wrapped. Guy.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's my 97 Eagle Talon that has been body swapped to the Eclipse body. Both of them are the same color. I wrapped both of them.
The truck used to be white, right?
Yes, white and tan.
Yeah. I'll throw a better picture of it you had sent me up in post.
Yeah. So I had it. It was white and tan when I first got it, and then I wrapped it in my extreme shades stuff,
Mhm.
and then I've got a shop van now, a little Transit Connect. I no longer pull my trailer around, just because so many neighborhoods nowadays are super tight.
Mhm.
So I've done away with the mobile truck and trailer setup, and now just have a mobile my little van. I'm actually going to Georgia in a week to wrap the van, so that'll be wrapped here soon.
So, do you spend most of your time at the shop tenting, or do you travel quite a bit?
Since I got in the shop, I might do one mobile job a month,
Okay,
just because nobody, I do charge a mobile fee depending on where you're at, and
sure.
it goes up. Um, so yeah, a lot of people trying to save money these days. I get it, but at the
Yeah,
same token, diesel or gas prices aren't cheap now. So
yeah, yeah. Um, so is there like a gold standard for like the type of film that you use? I guess, do you mind walking me through like how do you like find the right film or find the right filament or whatever? Like, is there like different
okay.
types, different standards? Like what does that look like trying to choose?
So yeah, there's different brand names. There's only a couple of actual raw material manufacturers in the
Hmm.
world. One of them is Garware, which is in what is India, I think. And then there's another company called Eastman, which a lot of people are probably familiar with them. They make a lot of different products.
Hmm.
Um, those are the two big competitor raw material. When I talk about raw material, I'm actually talking about like the dye that's injected or that's laid upon the either adhesive or the film, um, or the carbon characteristics of a carbon based film. Um, but most window tint is multiple things compacted together.
Hmm.
So if there's a window tinter that says, well, my manufacturer makes their film, yeah, they might put it together, but they don't make the raw material. There's actually a manufacturing plant here in North Carolina called Max Pro. I used them several years ago and ended up within a year had some comebacks due to the film failure. So I
Hmm.
dropped them like a hot potato, and now I'm currently using Flex Films, which is a Garware product. Max Pro says that they manufacture their own film, but they actually only put the raw materials together. Essentially, yes, they're manufacturing the raw material together. So I guess they can say that. Um, but normally, like if I wasn't happy with what Flex Films was doing, I would reach out to a bunch of different companies, talk to them, see where their raw materials is made at, and I would go from there. Just because I'm a little deeper into this industry as some guy just doing it out of his garage, or
Yeah.
some would say that I'm a celebrity in this industry. I don't
I'd
I
say
don't
that.
I don't particularly think that, but on the window tinting groups, if somebody says something about Haas, everybody's like, "Oh, I love Haas," blah blah blah. I'm a humble guy. I don't look at it as that at all. But so with window film, my window film, Flex Films has a dyed film. I no longer carry dyed films just for the simple fact that they will fade. They will may not turn purple, but they will fade over time,
Hmm.
because the dye, especially here in North Carolina, our climate's just retarded when it comes to that. Um, it'll kill film. So my entry level film is actually a carbon based film. There's absolutely no dye in it whatsoever.
Hmm.
Um, the carbon film does have a slight amount of heat rejection. Um, the reason why I'm not really working right now is because I need to shrink this window, and this will overpower on my mic. So,
Okay.
but anyways, my next level of film is a carbon ceramic film. It's got the light ceramic layer that's in it. It slows down around 88% of infrared heat, which is the heat you actually feel in your skin when you walk outside. And then I also carry a premium ceramic film, which slows down 98% of infrared heat. Just to throw it out there, there is a TikTok video going around with the ceramic film being dark on the outside, clear on the inside. Yes and no. It's the reason why that video looks like that is because of the camera changing and adjusting to the light transmitted. So I actually done a live video on my Extreme Shades page because I've had numerous calls. Yeah, I want that window tint that's dark on the outside and light on the inside. I think it's called ceramic. And you know, for a 4-door sedan in my premium ceramic film, you're paying $600 plus tax. So, but yeah.
If you need to work on stuff, if you need to work on like shrinking that or whatever, we'll just pause. And I'll cut that part out.
Well, I mean, if you want to let the video go, that's fine. It's noisy.
Yeah.
But it's actually cool to watch it happen.
Yeah, no, I'll leave it playing. I can if it gets bad or something, we'll just stop talking. So
I just know on my live videos sometimes it has issues, like picking up my voice.
Yeah, it's actually doing a pretty good job. It's like I don't know if you have like a noise gate or something on, but it's rejecting the sound of that heat gun really well.
Hopefully you can see that in the video.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of satisfying to watch.
So basically, in a nutshell, obviously the film comes off the roll and it's flat. This window is curved, and I have to basically shrink the film to the glass. That way, it takes the curvature of the glass, and I don't have all these fingers, bubbles, or whatever you want to call it on the inside.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted just like watching it. It's kind of mesmerizing. So you recommend then typically using a carbon film
at minimum, yeah.
And if you want to spend a lot of money, then you would use a ceramic one.
Right.
Okay.
If you're looking for superior heat rejection, absolutely. And that's with any film brand, and some places are going to have different prices. Like I tell some of my potential clients that call me asking prices, they're like, "How much does it cost?" And I tell them, and they're like, "Holy crap! Just for some window tint? Well, you're paying for the window film and the 16 years of experience that I've been doing this." So.
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes with anything. Like, same thing. You pay a shop to diagnose something on your truck. Like if you have an issue with it,
absolutely.
You're going to save a lot of money by working with a shop that actually knows how to find the problem. There's a lot of things that can be extremely difficult to diagnose. And, if you got to pay somebody that doesn't have, I wouldn't even say like the time matters, but just the amount of experience somebody has with a certain type of issue, it's worth paying for experience. And I'm at the point now where like anytime I want to do work with anybody, when I want to, pay for a service, it's like, I just want to talk to somebody. I want to pay somebody, whatever it costs to have the best, I don't want to deal with people and that don't know what they're doing. So,
right.
I don't even typically care what the price is on something. It's like, if that's something I want to do, I want to find the best person for it.
Exactly. I'm the same way a lot of times.
So do you work like 6 days a week? Like you're actually open 6 days a week for scheduling and everything?
Yes, for the most part. There are some instances where I might leave early on a Saturday, or my wife may have planned us something to do on a Saturday, so I won't book anything on that Saturday. But my Saturdays normally are like I just told that lady on the phone. This Saturdays are normally the first day to go. So just because normally the day that everybody's off work around here.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of people probably want to get their cars in on the weekend, so they actually have the ability to have another ride or whatever. How long does a job like this typically take if you're doing all windows?
All the windows, roughly around 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours.
Okay.
I know we're not going to be probably on video for that long, but I'll I have been known to knock some cars out in about 45 minutes, depending on how I'm working,
Yeah, if you're
how
not
many phone
distracted
calls
by
I have to answer.
yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I can, like, what we're doing here. This is very normal for me, as
Mhm.
far as like talking while I'm working like this. Now, if people are calling and I'm having to stop and walk away and go to my computer, to my calendar, then yeah, it takes a little bit longer.
So why are you marking that? Do you stop the tint at the line where the factory edges of the glass are?
Yep. So there's a dotted edge that goes around this glass,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna mark it here. I'm gonna put it on that big sheet of glass that's right there and cut it on that. A lot of window tinters would just cut it directly on this glass. And there's especially with this being a Volkswagens, any German car really have super soft glass.
Yeah.
And even if I have seen some window tinters that are even better than me, they've scratched these glasses just because it's soft. It's soft glass. There's really no way around it without doing how I do it. So every car that comes in, I shrink it, I mark it with a Sharpie, put it on the pill board, and go from there.
Yeah.
That way I'm cutting it on my glass, less chance of ruining customer's car.
Yeah, for sure.
I forget that these have a super deep recess down to the bottom of this.
When you're, I don't want to distract you from trying to get this perfect.
No, you're good.
What are your plans for your 7.3? I guess, or if you want to tell me, like, what is it that you've done to your 7.3 so far?
So far I have done KC38R turbo from you guys. Another thing that I've talked to you about, I just haven't bit the bullet and ordered it, was doing injectors. That's really it. I put the Hydra or whatever, what the tuner that y'all are very fond of, one of those with your tunes on it. Got the Napa 6636 or 37. Golly, it's been so long since I really messed.
Yeah, you're like, I just drive the truck now, man.
Yeah. But the injectors, glow plugs are something that's been on my to-do list for quite some time now.
Yeah.
It's a matter of pulling the plug.
Do you drive that into the work every day, or do you drive your Mitsubishi? You have an Evo?
No. It's Eagle Talon.
Okay. Wait.
It's the same thing as an Eclipse, a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Okay. I'm not a car guy.
I flip flop between the Talon, the truck, and then my shop van.
Gotcha.
A lot of times I'm driving the shop van just because it's a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that is stupid on gas, like really good.
It's a van that gets good mileage. I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a 4-cylinder.
Yeah,
it's like a 1.8 liter.
So it's probably not the fastest thing in the world either.
Oh no, absolutely not.
What are gas prices like down where you're at right now?
It's like $3.80 a gallon for regular.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like $4.25 for premium. Diesel, it varies anywhere between $4.50 to $4.75 depending on what part of this area you're in.
Dude, so, it's almost $5 a gallon for regular fuel here for just gas. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I had to fill up both the cars yesterday, and it was like for 2 cars, it was like, $140. Like, man, this is insane.
I heard that'll hurt your feeling whenever you go to the pumps.
Yeah, a little bit. So is it, man, I'm curious, like, I'm really bad at applying anything and putting it in the right spot. Like trying to put a phone, you get a new phone, you try to put a screen on it, a screen protector.
Yeah, the screen protector.
I can never get those things right. I have no clue how you just stretch that thing to fit, and then you're going to get it put back in the perfectly right spot again.
Yep. So everything's done wet applied with window film.
Okay.
So there's a company, you've probably seen the name pop up at on this side of my screen.
Yeah.
But there's a company called Tinting, and they make these tanks. This is an old Coca-Cola keg or Pepsi keg or something like that. Used to have the syrup in it years ago. But this company now takes these and puts these brass fitting on Flexzilla hosing along with that, and then the sprayer. So that has my soapy solution in it. You just I fill it up with 2 gallons of water, and then there's a pretty significant amount of soap that's in it. And the soap allows it to slide around on the inside of the glass when I go to install it. And then when I squeegee it, it squeegees all that slip solution out from underneath it. And the adhesive grabs a hold of the glass and it sticks.
Gotcha. So when you just applied it there and you squeegee it all out, like, is that the same as you're going to do for applying it for a final run?
Kind of. So what I'm going to do on the inside is a little bit more thorough than what I did here. Before we started this video, I made sure I sprayed my glass and squeegeed it off to get any contamination off of it. Right now, this is just kind of chilling up there. You can probably see like all the like weird stuff going on with it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of window tinters that have these pieces of glasses in their shop. They're called pill boards. And this is there literally to hold the film.
Yeah.
Some guys, so like when I do mobile jobs, I have to use this glass as my pill board. And basically there's a liner on the film. You pull the liner off that exposes the adhesive, spray the adhesive side with the slip solution, and that allows you to get inside the car with it to move it around. So when I get in there, you'll see that I'll use a clay bar on all the defrost lines, and then I'll use a blue glass safe scrubby pad. I'll scrubby the whole glass, and then I'll squeegee it, and then I'll respray it with my slip solution, and then I'm ready to install my pattern of film.
Gotcha. So the film goes on the inside of the window.
That is correct. Just shape and do everything on the outside.
Yeah.
That way you're not having to bring that 1200 degree heat gun inside, burning headliners and seats and
yeah
all that fun jazz.
Okay.
That one.
That makes sense. So the first time you applied it there, that wasn't actually applied. Like you have another piece of film you need to pull off to get to the adhesive.
Yep.
All right.
That was correct.
That was why I was asking. I was like, man, that came off really easy. So how does it? How does it stay on there?
I apologize.
No, it's all good. I'm learning, so I'm enjoying it.
Oh, good.
I've had ideas in the past. It's like, man, I would love to find like a detailer, a tinter, like people that are like incredible at what they do, and up here build it all under one roof. Like you can run your own business or whatever, but have like in like one shop, one location, whether you're getting repairs, tires, you want to like detailed when you're done. Like I think that'd be awesome. It'd be good for driving business to everybody. So do you want to move to Alaska?
Let's see, I think you've asked me this question before.
I think I've asked you before. Yeah.
I'm
guessing still a no.
Last year. Well, I mean, I would love to, but kind of hard to move a wife, a 6-year-old, and 2 twin 11-month-olds.
Oh yeah.
Away from family. No, I mean, if you're willing to bring the rest of the family along, it's a big possibility.
Yeah, man, all expenses paid. You know, we'll get the whole family, get the cousins, everybody on board.
Heck yeah. I mean, what would be really cool is my dad, he's a parts manager for a local 18-wheeler shop. So they work on all the big diesels. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring him up. He can help us build out our store. We can work on maybe we can work on warehousing, selling online for 18-wheelers.
There you go.
Yeah.
So this is the clay bar.
What's up?
That I'm using here. And basically, a lot of times these defrost lines, being that they create an electrical current goes through them to make the heat. They grab a lot of dirt particles.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it's getting dirtier on my clay bar here. The clay bar kind of breaks it free. Well, if I can keep my clay bar on my hand.
Yeah, I used a clay bar once, like on the outside of my truck, and I was like, man, it is amazing how much crap gets stuck in the paint that you don't get off by washing it. I had no idea.
It's really crazy. So there's a lot of guys in the industry that have issues with Dodge Chargers and Challengers. A lot of times with the clay bar on one of those, it could be a brand new one directly off the truck, 2 miles, 10 miles. They could bring it to my shop, and this yellow clay bar would be the color of this rear deck by the time I don't know if it's something within the factory or what it is, but it'll make a clay bar super duper dirty. This particular car has a super deep recess down there in the bottom. Hard to get 2 spaces. I promise the sounds that you may have just heard are not as bad as they really are. As what it sounds like.
I can imagine
there's a lot of water. Go ahead.
I can imagine, especially down there, where you have such intense heat all the time, that like tinting has got to be like #1 priority if you own a vehicle.
A lot of times, a lot of clients will call me, especially people that that I've tinted for. They'll call me while they're sitting at the dealership.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm signing paperwork on a car. Can you get me in tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like call the insurance company and then immediately call Haas as the second phone call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that glass is ready for film. Here's the fun part. I'm gonna pick the clear liner. Now there's some guys that do what's called Frankenstein install for back windows, which is basically where they would peel this entire piece of liner off. Once they peel the liner off of the entire piece of film, they would grab it and they would, like, their arms will be out like this. So that's why it's called Frankenstein. They look like Frankenstein walking over to the car.
Yeah.
I do what's called reverse rolling. Because I'm 6'1", I weigh 255, 60 pounds, depending on the day and what time of day.
Yeah.
And I did it for about 14 years, and then a couple of years ago, I learned how to do this reverse rolling. So I'm stuttering that right now. Basically, I pull the liner, I spray the adhesive. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse it, or I'm going to roll it up. The liner is still on there. Roll it up super tight, kind of like a burrito. And what this does is this allows me to only have to hold the film like that.
Yeah. And then just peel as you roll it out.
Yep. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and start the peel before I get in the car. So as you can see, I've got part of the film that's peeled off. That's the adhesive side that I just sprayed. Come in the car. Again, I'm a big dude, so getting in the back seats of some of these cars is kind of wild.
So if somebody calls you and they've got like a smart car or like a Toyota Yaris or something that's super tiny, do you have to reject that?
No, I don't reject it. I still get the job done, but I may say some choice words while I'm doing it, I guess. I do have a female employee that's like 5'4", something like that. So a lot of times I'll put her in the car.
Yeah.
Here, you do it. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work the film across, letting that top edge kind of hang down because I still have to slide it down into that low recess down there. We'll work the top back up. Get that in there. Make sure I ain't got no light gaps. Can't have none of them.
Over time, I'm sure that this gets the film gets kind of seasoned to the glass. Is it possible, like 5 years down the road, to like pretty easily remove the tint, or is it pretty much just peel off, or does it get pretty hard?
It depends. It really does. It depends on the film brand, the type of adhesive used. There's some film manufacturers that use acrylic adhesive. There's some that use like a urethane adhesive. There are methods to taking this stuff off, especially back windows. Methods of taking it off without ruining like the defrost lines on passenger cars or even trucks that have defrost lines on them. Can you slide up more? Here it goes. Cool. I use generally when we pull a car in, it's just getting some film removed on it. I'll use a steamer, basically like a clothing steamer. And normally that softens the adhesive enough that you can pull it off.
Yeah.
Pull the film off, and the adhesive comes with it, which is the goal. It doesn't always happen, especially on a vehicle that's had window tint on it for years, like 10 plus. There are some film brands that I've seen somebody tint it, go to take it off a week later, and every bit of the adhesive stays on the glass.
That's nasty.
No matter what method. Yeah. And it's, with back windows, you can't just take a razor blade back here because you got the defrost lines.
Yeah. And being that curved, I imagine that makes it even harder. So
yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the only time I've ever tried to remove tint is when it removes itself, because you had like, 25-year-old car and it's all cracked out.
Right.
It just turns into a nightmare. So when you're doing tint like this, do you apply, like, if a car has like a factory mild tint or something on the back windows, do you apply over top of the factory tint, or do you remove that?
So like your truck or trucks, vans, SUVs, when they come from the manufacturer, a lot of them come with what's called privacy glass. I do the quotes because that's exactly what it is. For the most part, sometimes you can still see through it, so it's not really private, I guess.
Right.
But the big thing is, a lot of people, they'll call and be like, yeah, my back windows are already tinted. Well, sir, ma'am, if you did not know, the factory tint does not have any type of heat rejection properties, because it's a dye that is injected into the glass.
Gotcha.
So like where I'm applying basically a plastic film, the factory tint is actually a dye that's injected into the glass while it's being made. So yeah, I would apply the film directly on top of that glass, being that dye is directly in the glass. So
yeah, and it's useless for anything other than just like making it harder to see in the car. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right.
So a while back, I don't know if you added me to it, or if like I don't really do a lot of Facebook, or Facebook like added me somehow. I got added to a group called Tintertainment. And I was like, every once in a while I see a post come up from that group, and I can't help but laugh. Y'all are crazy in there. Is that just simply just like people are just hilarious and post funny things, or is it like about tinting or whatever, or is that like one of the events that you went to recently? Does that have anything to do with it?
Yes. So entertainment is there's a guy named Carlos who owns a window tint shop in Texas called Texas Tint Masters. He's very big into entertainment, entertaining people. Really cool guy, down to earth. But he wanted to start something for window tinters, so that there wasn't, one second. Let's see what's going on with this film down here. unfortunately, 10 plus years ago, I couldn't call a window tint shop across the country and ask them a question on how to do, like, how to install something, or if I'm having an issue, I wouldn't be able to call even across the country.
Right.
Now, with the way this industry has gone, I could call the local shop that's 8 minutes away from me and say, hey, I need a hand. Or, hey, have you ever installed tint on one of these? I'm having issues with this particular thing. And they would actually answer the question, or they would come help me, or whatever. This industry has become a very, very helping, friendly industry. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And this is, so Tintertainment started because there's a window film magazine. It's called Window Film Mag. They do a competition every year. It's a conference competition where window tinters from across the world show up and try to see who's best.
How do you determine
the only thing, they have judges that they do installs with windows. There's time restrictions, and then they deduct points for like little specks of trash or kinks or light gaps, so on and so forth. But that particular entity, that without going too much into detail and saying something that I would end up regretting saying, we think that there's a lot of window tinters that think they don't do it for the right reasons. And that said, Tintertainment come about by Carlos. He wanted to do something that was for tinters, by tinters, and wanted to have fun with it. So
yeah,
that's where that started. And then he started a competition called Tinter Battles, and it's basically where window tinters get together. It's kind of a no holds bar. You do what you would normally do in your shop. Whoever has the best tinted window out of the group wins the competition.
Isn't there just like one objective judge, or just like kind of everybody?
No, they appoint judges. There's like at this past one, there was 4 judges, and I mean they were very thorough. The way they did their points, you started off with 200 points.
Yeah.
If you had, say, a finger pop up on the bottom edge after the 1 hour time limit was called, that car was not ready to be given back to the customer, so you got disqualified. Essentially, you did not finish.
Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, if you were at a shop and you have a finger pop up at the bottom of the glass, you can't give the car back to the customer. You got to go back and work on it, right? And that's how they did that. They deducted 1 point per spec, and when I talk about a spec, I'm talking about something that a customer would never see.
Just not perfect.
Like like they've had LED lights, like looking from the inside sideways to see any little piece. Which is good. I mean, across the board, it really humbles you, because everybody, and this is another thing, like a lot of customers think that their tint job is perfect. Well, you ask any window tinter, if they tell you that there is a such thing as a perfect tint job, they're lying to you. There's absolutely no way to get a perfect tint job, because even in an enclosed environment, if the air was sealed off, I was in a jumpsuit, didn't have my beard hanging out, my arm hairs hanging out, there's no way.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's going to be a slight level of contamination here and there. Obviously, you don't want it to look like I took this piece of tint, laid it on the floor with the adhesive exposed, and then stuck it to the glass, right? Yeah. But at the same token, I mean, there's going to be a small amount here and there that is allowable. That's even a word. Anyways, this bottom down there is super hard to get to. And then they had a ruler, and they were taking off. I think it was 10 points for a kink, 10 points for light gaps, and they were measuring them per inch. You lost 10 points. So if you had a kink that was 1.5 inches long, you lost 15 points. Or if you had a light gap that was 2 inches long, you lost 20 points. So this past time I actually got to compete in it. We placed third out of 9 teams.
Nice.
That's
pretty good.
I mean, you're talking some of the best window tenders in the country. So I'm very satisfied with third place.
Yeah. What did you get docked for? Like, what was the main things you got docked for?
So my partner, he didn't realize that there was a light gap that he had left on the front of the window, by this front edge, and you couldn't see it from couldn't see it from the outside. You could see it from the inside, because the mirror blocked it on the outside.
Gotcha.
So we got docked for that. There was some contamination on some of the windows, and like I said, when I say they were looking for contamination, it was stuff that like customers would have never seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean that's how strenuous they are on it. Like,
yeah,
being very particular with it, which I'd rather it be that way. That way everybody scored the same, and so. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely fun time. They had other events going on during that competition. Well, kind of like the whole weekend was just a bunch of window tenders in one spot hanging out. But they did different events. Like they had a back window shrinking contest. It was kind of like a raw elimination style competition. Basically, they had 2 cars butt together. Uh-oh. I feel like I just lose my video signal. Nope.
I got you still.
But they had 2 cars butt up back to back. They had the 2 window tenders. They put the film on the glass, and they had to shrink the film. And the first person or the last person to get their window shrunk, like flat out, like I had it just a minute ago, the last person to get theirs done had to walk away, and then they would bring the next competitor in, and the guy who won that one, he stays there. So they did that kind of like elimination round, and I think one of the guys, he ended up going through about 7 different contestants before he actually got beat out.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool, really neat. I mean, it's a really good time. Like I said, it's definitely crazy. I've watched this industry grow from what it used to be years ago. But that's the whole purpose behind the entertainment thing, is just having a good time with what you do. Like, I'm sure you've heard it, and I'm sure other people have heard it. If you get into a job that you absolutely love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And that's what Carlos has envisioned with entertainment and the tenor battles.
Well, and I think it does help for most people too to have some identity in what you do, and have a community around it. It makes it a lot less monotonous to just do the same job every day.
Yeah. I mean, it's really wild, because a lot of people, like I said earlier, some people would see me as kind of a celebrity in this industry, I guess. Maybe not a celebrity, just really well known, just because I talk on all the groups. Probably like whenever I go to 7.3 diesels and somebody comments and says, "Who's the best?" or "Who does the tunes for my 7.3?" and everybody's like, Dusty Hoggett, 1023 diesel. You see what I'm saying? So it's very much like that, I guess. But I've never met, I'd probably say 90% of the people that I've talked to on the internet. And to go to that event and be able to meet the same people that I conversate with on a daily basis was absolutely awesome, to the point where they already feel like family, right? There's one guy that he also does a live streaming show on YouTube. Talk to him a lot. he held one of my twin girls, and she ended up falling asleep on his chest, right?
Yeah.
At the competition. So it's just, this is basically one huge family, and that's the whole purpose behind entertainment, is just to have fun with it.
Yeah. There seems to be a big disconnect there on like the shop side of things. Like I think there, there are communities of people that shops that'll work together, whatever, but there seems to be a lot of disdain from shop to shop, like for repair shops. It's kind of a bummer because there's a lot that could be learned, and it could be a whole lot more enjoyable if people would work together. But honestly, I think a big part of that is the people that run the shops, and a lot of it is customers too, like people that bring their vehicles to shops, because it seems like there's no if somebody is not like, if they don't get the result they're looking for at a shop, just immediately like just hate them. And I think Facebook is great for a lot of things, like social media, I guess, in general. And it's kind of bad for just being able to talk a company for something that you didn't understand, why you weren't happy with the result. And that doesn't help either.
I can definitely agree to that.
And I guess it's different too. Like for us, we really have two sides of our company. We have like an online side that I run, and we have our physical like repair shop. And for the online side, it's even worse. Like for the most part, online retailers mostly hate each other. So because you're competing in the same space, it's not like if somebody wants to get their windows tinted, at in Alaska or whatever, Pennsylvania, like there's no competition for you and whatever shops are there,
right.
It's all local. When you're online, it's always competition, like no matter where anybody's at. And man, these guys really hate each other.
Pretty cutthroat, huh?
Yeah. It's easier to just not have friends. I mostly keep to myself. I just do my job. That's about it.
And that. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm attempting to pull the sweeps out of this car. Normally, I do not have issues with, and I'm having issues right now. There's like a rubber felt sweep at the bottom of this glass. And if I pull it out, it gives me access, like free access to the bottom of that window. Once I get it out, I'll show you why I pull it. Some installers pull these, some don't. Some take door panels off. If I don't have to take the whole door panel off to get this sweep out, then that's what I do. So this thing is what's called a window sweep. It's got two pieces here with felt. That felt goes up against the glass, allows the glass to go up and down. A lot of window tinters only tint past that first piece of felt. My film will actually go past the second piece of felt, which is what allows me to tell my customers that they can roll their windows down immediately rather than waiting 2 or 3 days to allow the film to cure to the glass.
Yeah. So that lip doesn't end up ripping the edge of the film off.
Yep. So I pull the sweep out. That way I can get access to below it. For some reason, I forgot how hard these Jettas were to get out.
Everything about Jettas is hard. There's nothing easy about the engineering on them.
Yes.
It's like you got to have special tools to change the oil. So.
Yep. But I'll get it.
What is your flooring? Is that rubber or is that carpet?
It is plastic.
Okay.
It's called Swiss Tracks. It's a bunch of 15 and 3/4 inch squares put together.
Okay.
The company is called Swiss Tracks. If you are interested, get with me. I can give you a person to contact, and you tell them you heard about it from Hoss Evans with Extreme Shades, and you will get a 20% discount.
Do you get a cut too? It's like an affiliate program or?
Yes,
Nice.
yeah. So I get they'll send me a gift card, certain amount of money for a gift card, but at the end of the day, the 20% definitely I feel like is better on your end than what I get out of it. Look,
Yeah,
there
whatever works.
oh.
Doubles.
Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Okay.
And you can post it up in there. But yeah, it's called Swiss Tracks. It's a plastic. It has it's a track system. Let's see, I've got a piece of it stuck over here, I believe. Where is it not over here anymore? My employee did come in here and clean up some the other day. Moved a bunch of my stuff. It's normally how it happens, right?
Yeah.
Over here. So this is actually 2 squares of it put together.
Okay.
But it's a plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the bottom side, it's got like these little groove channels. So if you get water under it or whatever, it has a place to breathe and flow to.
Mm-hmm.
I love these things just because I'm not walking on straight concrete every day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, unless you put some type of like absorbent paper down before you do an oil change or a transmission job or something, I wouldn't suggest putting this in like a mechanic shop.
Yeah.
Just because all of like nuts and bolts can still fall down underneath it.
Yeah, I imagine it's nice for
is.
just getting water up. Like if you have any sort of amount of water you just don't want to be walking in or something, it'd be pretty nice for that.
Yes.
Just get it a little bit off.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
And
like if
good.
I do I also do PPF, paint protection film. So if I'm doing the front bumper or something like that, and I've got to sit on the floor, I'm not actually sitting in a puddle of water because that stuff is installed wet too. So it actually keeps me up off of the water.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Nice. It's the little things I never would have thought of. Man, there's so many, like, I really find it interesting. There's so many things that are just like, that are innate to a certain job that you never would think of unless you did the job. Like, the other day I went to, like it was Wendy's. I was driving through Wendy's and I had handed the lady like cash that was all like, I think it was in dollar bills or fives or something. And they were all like facing the same way and upright the same way. And she was like, man, thank you so much for putting, because I always have tons of ones. I'm not a stripper, I promise. And she's like, man, thank you so much. I don't have to organize them when I'm getting in here, like when they're busy. It's like, I never would have even thought that having the money facing the same direction mattered, like, I guess it has to go in the till the right way, but I don't know. There's just so many things. It's like, it'd be neat to just know more about things like that. Cause I don't mind, if it makes somebody else's life easier in any way, like I don't mind just doing little things like that, but it's just something I wouldn't have had a clue. Like if somebody hadn't said that, I would have had no clue that mattered what way you handed somebody money to go in a till if they're busy.
Right. Well, and see, like it's the same thing goes for like, and like with my job, I have to get in and out of the back seats of cars, right? Well, this car right here, it's got 2 car seats and a bunch of jackets, maybe a t-shirt or 2 in between the 2 car seats. I've already established that I'm a big guy, right?
Yeah.
There's car seats in the back seat, right? So I have to remove those car seats. And I've actually had customers like complain that I did not put their car seat back in appropriately because I put them back in face down. That way the customer has to put it back in. They're responsible for that car seat being installed, not me.
Yeah.
And I've had customers complain about that. They're like, yo, you took my car seat out and now I can't put my kid in. I'm sorry, but I'm not putting it back in and being responsible for you to get in a wreck down the road. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that I've actually made I've got a video on my YouTube of me talking about car seats, like bringing your car without car seats installed. Some people watch it and they take the car seat out and some people don't.
Yeah. Well, I think it would just be like a kind of a common courtesy if you want somebody to do anything inside of your car, just like clean it first, like get your stuff out of it. I don't feel like that one should need to be explained. But I guess everything does.
It is 2022, so
yeah. 2022. We can identify as potatoes if we want to. So
Right. When I take pictures, I think my phone identifies as a potato.
yeah.
Cell phones are not like the old school Nokias back in the day.
Yeah. I think I still have one of those, like an old Nokia brick from like 2002.
You can't destroy them.
Yeah.
They are indestructible.
My
I said
6-year-old found a Razor, like my old flip phone, like the Motorola Razors that were like all the rage in like 2010-ish, 2011.
Wow.
Hot stuff, man. Still works though.
Heck yeah.
Not as a phone, but you can play Snake on it.
Right. So this here is a program that I'm using. It's called Film and Vinyl Designs.
Mm-hmm.
There's a monthly subscription to all the patterns. I'm not sure exactly how well you can see the patterns on the screen right now.
Yeah, I can kind of see them.
I'll get a close up in just a minute. So, like, they've got all the different patterns for this particular car. There's the quarter windows, the two front doors, the roll downs, front windshields, back windows. I don't use the patterns for the back windows or windshield if I were to do the windshield, mainly because remember that dotted edge that I was telling you about that I was overlapping?
Yeah.
That literally puts it right over top of it all the way around. So if I were to say burn it down here, that whole piece of film is ruined. I can't just slide it down a little bit and manipulate it and do away with that burn.
Gotcha.
So that's why I don't use back windows patterns. Not to mention the fact if this thing cuts it wrong or the pattern's off because I'm having to trust somebody else's cut,
right?
Original cut. If it's off, then that whole piece is ruined, and I now have to cut it by hand. Right. And that's a really big piece of film. That said, I use the plotter to cut out all the side patterns. And this thing is going to go across it kind of like a CNC machine, or any of the viewers or listeners has a wife with a Cricut. This is basically what happens on the inside of that little box.
Yeah.
It's going to cut the film. It's not going to cut the release liner or the clear liner that I pulled off of that back window earlier. But it works off of an XY axis just like a CNC machine, and it cut all those patterns out for me. Saves a lot of time from me having the hand cuts. Yeah.
When you're at your competition, since I'm sure that's not like local to your shop, do you just do it manually all?
Yep, you have to. That's one thing. That's the only thing they don't allow is a plotter.
Gotcha.
Oversize, please reset. That's weird. First world problem, right? Mm-hmm. It only cut my two front doors and one quarter panel out. That's weird. Or quarter window.
I'm gonna be right back, Haas. All right. I drank a whole bunch of water and like 2 cups of coffee because I was. This is the earliest I've had to be coherent to record anything in like ever.
What time is it there?
Now, but it was. What's that?
What time is it there now?
Oh, it's like 10:30 now.
Oh, not bad.
Usually, Friday nights, especially, I'm up pretty late, 2 o'clock or so, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Out partying, huh?
Yeah, don't party. I just have a lot of stuff to get done from the. Yeah, much like you, I don't really take a day off.
Yeah,
it's stay pretty busy. I don't know, man. When you run a business, it's kind of like, at least for me, if I'm not working on something or like doing something that was planned with the family, it's like I don't really know what to do. I don't really have hobbies, so well, if I don't have anything scheduled, I guess I'll go work on a project.
I'll go do more work. I'll go figure something else out to do. I gotta make a sales post or something. Well, I get it.
Yeah. So who are the? And I apologize. I don't do TikTok or anything, but I know that I like. There's those 2 like famous guys that like would sing stuff. Or what are they called? Like, do they have a name on TikTok? Like the guys that would you had done a parody.
Oh, the
It was hilarious, but and I kind of understood what was going on, but I don't follow it enough to know what I'm talking about.
the Island Boys.
Okay.
The Island Boys. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So they're in order to get in the tenor battles this past time, like they wanted you to post content on your social media. And you know, I was tired of seeing those two guys all over the place, and you know they got their fame, and I mean they look ridiculous,
Yeah.
sound ridiculous, the whole 9 yards. So I decided to make a funny video, you know, basically copying them and talking about how I'm a tinter boy.
Yeah.
Their video was I'm an island boy trying to make it, stuff like that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a funny video, and
It
I'm
was
gonna
funny.
use them to kind of get me a little bit of fame. And you know, everybody in the window film community, they all found it super funny. So
Yeah. Well, and didn't they even like share your video too, the Island Boys?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, so funny story. I use a CRM program, customer record management program called TintWiz. The owner of TintWiz, his name is Eric Gavash. Super awesome dude. Does a lot for the community. Sends free stuff to shops all the time, whether they use his program or not. And anyways, after I did that video, he paid those two guys $600 for them to do a cameo of my video.
No kidding.
Yeah, just so they would go back and they, you know, they talked about loving TintWiz, and they talked about who's going to win the tenor battles. It's on my TikTok, if anybody wants to view it. Hall Sevens. Actually, was that on my? I can't remember if that was my personal TikTok or my Extreme Shades. One of the two.
Yeah,
it's there. But it kind of blew up. Everybody loved it. It got shared on the Entertainment Network Facebook page, and you know, it was definitely a funny for the time. So
yeah. I didn't even know what was going on. I'm not really into the whole social media thing, and I still got a kick out of it. Like I got the context of it, and I about died laughing. So, and you did a good job looking absolutely ridiculous.
I don't have my stuff right now. If I did, I would show it. But it's very funny.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, if you have or haven't seen it, they've got ridiculous hair, like sticking way up in little. It's like dreadlocks, but they got them like poking straight up, and then they got the gold teeth, and
yeah.
So I did all of that. I took they're called soak ropes. It's basically thick yarn that's been braided. Window tenders use them to go down in the bottom edge of a windshield down here, so that water don't seep down to any electronics behind the dash. I took those and some metal clothes hangers and wrapped it around it to make it stand straight up. And then if you did not know, you can get grills on Amazon for like $20.
Really? I feel like the only use case for those has to be somebody just doing it for a joke. There's no anybody actually buys those to be legit.
Well, I mean, I don't have those here either. All of that stuff is at the house because I actually brought it with me to the tenor battles because I was going to come out as the tinter boy, and it was just so hectic that weekend. I didn't have a chance to throw it on and enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty charismatic to be able to make a video like that. I don't think I could ever pull anything like that off.
I'm going to tell you, I like being on the side of the camera that I'm on right now.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of being on this camera here. Not a big fan of it. So that's why you're on the GoPro.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do have, you know, I got the camera that's the GoPro that's up there that you were just viewing me at. I've got a cell phone that I can actually run. If you did not know this with OBS, they have an OBS app, and you can link via the web address, the IP address
Yeah.
to your OBS and use your cell phone as a camera.
Yeah, I actually used that in the past before I got some like nicer mirrorless cameras.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the more videos we make, like, yeah, you can produce some really nice, like much better videos if you have really good equipment, like lighting and good cameras and everything.
Yeah.
But it is so much easier to get like pretty good, like close enough with a cell phone. Like there's so many things have to be perfect with a nicer camera. So
that's true story. That's just like with my GoPro. Like getting in the back seat of this car, it's it's dark inside the car, and the GoPro really doesn't have a good light contrast to it. So
yeah, they don't adjust exposure and stuff very well at all. And that's why like a new iPhone or like anything, they're pretty incredible in almost any scenario.
right.
You use a special camera, and it's like you got to set it up, and then the lighting can't change. If you want a good quality. It's like, man, I've ruined so many videos, so many hours of footage that I just destroyed and didn't know until later. And that never happens when you use a phone. So
no, it changes for you. How's y'all's business doing? Doing well?
Yeah, man. We're starting to see a lot of problems from supply chain issues, manufacturing issues, big delays on a lot of stuff.
I saw the last one that y'all did and heard about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what the future holds, but so far, like the main stuff that we deal with hasn't been a huge problem, but it's starting to get there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're good. We're working on moving over to a new platform that give us a lot more ability to turn our website into what we want. There's a lot of really complex stuff that we would like to do and like don't have the time to build it. And like, out of the box, like Shopify or BigCommerce and stuff, they just don't, even honestly, even something custom, like using like Magento or something like that, they don't have the ability to do what we need them to do.
Right.
And so we've been searching for solutions. And I think we've got one. So got some pretty major changes we're going to be making to our website.
Nice.
And I've wanted to make a big shift into creating content, like creating kind of 3 different types of videos. We've got our longer form podcasts that are just kind of, they're not meant to be, educational. They're more or less just entertaining. You might learn something, you might not, just kind of follow along.
Right.
And then kind of vlog style videos just around the shop, just what we're working on and stuff. And then I want to have a third, like, that's just purely educational, like scripted, about like a certain subject, and like as accurate and concise as possible. And then I want to, like, we're building out a like an information center basically on our website. So like the kinds of questions people would want answered, whether it be like choosing parts, diagnosing issues, whatever, just have a like any form you want to learn from, it'll be written and then also have videos on it. And so that's kind of trying to build a media platform basically is what we're after.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to do that, like the structure of it is interesting.
Tough.
And building like scripting videos to be like perfectly accurate and concise and informative. It's so much freaking work, man. It's so much easier to just sit down and just talk. But
have fun.
How many people are you going to capture for an hour and a half, that are going to learn something from it? Not a lot.
Right.
And you can capture, help a lot more people if it's a lot shorter form and concise. So.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately our goal is, it's always to help people feel comfortable with the decisions they're making for the parts that they buy. Like we don't do like normal advertising really. We don't, I'm not interested in that. Like it's really just about to be informative. So The problem is just limited time. I can only help so many people that way, like on
Yeah.
a personal phone call. So the more info we can get out there, the better.
So kind of like when I called you about my injectors.
Yeah, and that's I like that. I like the the personal, like having a conversation, because you can kind of feel out what people are, where they're coming from, what they're trying to do, and help make a good decision. And then I think equally
Right.
important to just saying like these are the parts you should buy is like if I can explain why, like so like,
Yeah.
why you're making that choice. I think it's a lot better than just saying like, yeah, you should buy these things.
Right.
It's like what I'm
Because me
recommending
is
probably will be the right thing, but I think it's important to understand the reason.
absolutely. Well, in that way, like I understand why I'm buying what I'm buying. I'm not just, oh, I'm buying it because Dusty said so. I'm buying it because Dusty explained it. That's just like if you were to call me and say, hey, what's going to be better for my car? Is it going to be the carbon-based film or the ceramic-based film?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'm going to go in to tell you which one does what, and why it does what it does, and
Yep.
kind of let you make your decision. But I'm, obviously I'm going to tell you that the ceramic film is a better performance film than the carbon-based film.
Yeah.
But, so I definitely understand that. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between what I do and what you guys do to an extent.
I think that's almost any job, any
Yeah.
industry. There's being like education on the product that you're selling or the service you're providing is really important. And it's weird, man.
Very.
Like since I spend most of my day, like basically in sales, when I am a consumer and I'm buying a product, it's incredible how hard it is to find companies that will educate you on their product before you buy it. Like it's really hard to do.
Well, I think one of the reasons why is just because everybody's so fast paced now. Between being fast paced and lazy,
Mm-hmm.
fast paced and lazy, you got the companies that want to make that sale, and then you've got the other companies that are like, yeah, as long as we make this amount of sales this month, we're good. Like they don't want to grow any.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the amount of people that come in my shop and I tell them about the 3 different kinds of film that I carry, and they're like, well, I didn't know window film did that.
Yeah.
Well, it's because nobody's ever taken the time to explain it, and that's it's pitiful to an extent. Like
that's why it's cool what you're doing your live streams and stuff too. Like it takes a long time to build an audience. But I mean, the more people you can refer to say like, yeah, if you want to learn more about it, like I've got a video about that. Ton of info here.
Right.
Or just passively people watching what you have.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I don't do, and I probably should do is kind of some more educational videos as far as like bringing a piece of glass out that has the film on it and putting a meter, like a BTU meter, to show exactly how much it rejects and so forth. And I mean, I do have a heat lamp box demonstration inside the office there on the sales counter. So when a customer comes in, we can explain it, and then everybody, just like I said a while ago, a lot of people are like $600 for a window tint job. Well, yeah, the sticker shock hits them pretty hard, but then but heat lamp box demonstration, I can put let them put their hand in front of a heat lamp, and then put all 3 different types of film in front of it, and let them feel the difference between each of the films.
Yeah.
That way I'm not just spitting numbers out, and it's all about the educational part of what you do and what you're trying to sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's probably the hardest part of any business is education on your product.
It's just like going as a little boy, growing up, I always seen the little little dial things inside of like little auto parts stores,
mm-hmm.
where they had like one thing of oil over here, and then they've got Ames oil over here, and you turn the little dial and you can tell that the oil viscosity is a whole lot better with this one than it is that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of the same.
Little visual demonstration.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I feel like if you're a salesperson in whatever industry, you know, it's definitely good to know your product, know what you're selling. You don't have to necessarily know how it's made, but having some of that general knowledge helps a lot. So I mean, even you selling, you know, truck parts or whatever, maybe not knowing exactly how it was CNC machined and all this stuff or whatever, but the generalistics of it, you know, definitely helps out. That way, you as a salesman, if somebody comes up with that question, well, okay, well, what about this part over here? How does that work with that? And then you can educate them on that as well. So
yeah. So what's the you don't have to make a quote like it's like somebody's going to hold you to it, but like what is the general cost of doing a car like this, just like a sedan, like back windows, side windows, with a ceramic versus a carbon?
So this particular car that I'm working on, 4-door Jetta, any 4-door car at my shop, in my carbon base film, it's $240. In my mid-level film, which is a carbon ceramic, like a hybrid film, that one is $400 for the sides and back glass, and then for my premium ceramic, it's $600.
That doesn't seem too bad. I don't think I've ever had windows tinted in a vehicle ever.
You should do it.
I'm considering it.
You should do it. I don't know of any window tint installers in Alaska. I might could reach out and see if I can find somebody though.
Yeah, I know some guys that do, that are very well known, very popular, and I would trust to do good work. I don't know. I just never. It's like I'm more worried about an auto start because I don't like going outside in the cold than I about keeping the heat out.
Yeah.
Do you have plans for trying to expand and hire more, or are you pretty set on
where
you're at right now?
Yes. So right now I'm in a 1,600 square foot building. Well, it's one long building. I'm in the very end space that has a garage door. I got 800 square foot worth of shop space, 800 square foot worth of office area, waiting room, entry lounge, all that kind of jazz. The space beside me is for rent. It used to have a garage door in it, and I can probably fit about 2, maybe 3 cars with the way it's set up inside of it. But the property owner is going to have to put a garage door in it before I can rent it.
Right.
I actually just talked to them about that yesterday. So fingers crossed the property manager is able to talk the property owner into renting that spot out to me and putting a garage door back. That way I can expand into doing one, I can hire more people to do 10 installs.
Yeah.
But I also want to start pushing the paint protection side a little bit more and vinyl wraps. And if I can get that space beside me, there is a spot in the back of that building that would be significant enough space for me to operate a printer. So although I may not still actually design wraps, if somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I've paid somebody to design a wrap for me, can you install it, or can you print it and install it?" Absolutely, I have a printer at that point. But it's a matter of getting that building. Once I get that building, I can then purchase the printer and laminator, which is not cheap equipment.
I bet not.
But I would have enough room to house it. So right now I don't have the room to house it, so I either subcontract the print work out, or I send the customer to somebody to have it printed. Or like with me, my stuff with my van, I've got a really good friend of mine down in Georgia. He was the one who was my teammate. His name's Jeff Welch. um, on the surface design, wrap, and tint, Forsyth, Georgia. But he's got a printer and laminator at his shop, so I'm going to drive down to Georgia, and he's going to print it, and he and I both are going to install it. That way, it's done in a quick manner. I'm going to say you left me.
I'm still listening. I just moved away from the camera for a second.
But yeah, that's I've sent people to him, gotten people in contact with him so that he can print it for them. Like, I've had people come to me and, hey, can you print this? I'll install it. Can you print it? Well, no, I can't print it, but I can either send you to somebody, or I can send the information to them and they can print it and come pick it up from me, whichever you want to do. Doesn't matter. You can just contact him directly.
Yeah.
That way I don't have a middleman. But if somebody comes to me and says, hey, can you print this? I want you to install it too. Well, a lot of times, just so it's kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the one-stop shop, I'll just get all the information, send it to Jeff, and Jeff will print it for me, and then, you know, I'll do the install.
Yeah.
That way the customer doesn't have to deal with multiple people.
What is it? I mean, I guess it probably varies a lot, but I had looked at doing wraps in the past, and it was like stinking expensive.
Yeah.
I know we had several years ago, we had done an excursion build for a guy that really phenomenal guy that had cancer, and it was terminal, and the community came together, and we basically built his dream truck for him. And one of the things, he's a huge Seattle Seahawks fan. And so we had actually contacted the Seattle Seahawks and asked them if they would pay to wrap the truck, in their wrap, and to get the legal ability to use their logo and stuff.
Right.
And they denied, providing it, but they did give us the legal ability, and we looked into it. And I want to say it was like $12,000 or something is what we were quoted. I mean, excursions are pretty big, but I'm like, all right, I understand, this could be expensive, but that just doesn't seem right. So
yeah, that was pretty stout for an excursion, all over wrap in a printed material. Mm-hmm. Realistically, it probably shouldn't have been much more than like $6,000, $7,000.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting, is something more in that range. I'm like, man, that's a little too much. So we ended up doing it, but
I do have, people will call me and they'll be like, hey, how much does it cost to wrap my car? And I'll ask them a bunch of follow-up questions before I give a price. What color is it now? What color are you going to? How's the clear coat? Is the clear coat in good shape, or does it need sanding and feathering out?
Yeah.
So on and so forth. And matter of fact, I had a guy earlier. He contacted me and asked me, and I gave him the price. So my starting price for a sedan car for just exterior wrap, I start at $3,500. That's for a
just
solid
like a
color,
single color.
Like a normal plain Jane color, white, black, gray, red, blue, yellow. No color shifting or anything like that. And he said, good grief, I might as well go get it painted. Well, I mean, I'm essentially doing the same work that a paint shop's doing. It's going to take me roughly around the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And then the material is not cheap either.
Yeah.
And there's other shops in the area that do it for a little cheaper, but I not to toot my own horn, but the work isn't. I mean, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. Yeah, I know 100%. I know a lot of stuff that we do, like common stuff, like guys that want to, quote unquote, bulletproof their 6.0. Like, we get calls like that all the time. And they're like, well, this shop said they do it for $2,500. I'm like, well, first of all, bulletproofing doesn't mean anything. That's not even Bulletproof Diesel is a company who makes parts for 6.0s. But like what you're asking for is probably you want to do like, head gaskets, head studs, replace the EGR cooler, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that involves. And for us, it's like, we won't do that. Like, we will put new heads on the truck. We will not use the stock heads, because if they're not cracked, they will be. And we're anyway, long story short, we're not going to do a partial job, because we're not going to have it come back either. And so
Absolutely.
it's going to be $5,000 or $6,000, not, we're not just going to slap some head gaskets in it and call it a day, because you'll be
Right.
back doing it again in a month, and
Right.
people get super turned off by that. But it's like, same thing with people buying transmissions. Like, yeah, you can pay Joe Schmo $1,500 to rebuild your transmission. Lord knows what he's doing for that price, but you're going to pay $1,500 probably quite a few times before you realize you're going to end up spending $4,000 or $5,000 to get a transmission that'll actually stay together. So,
Right.
yeah, it's
while we're on here, what's converters running for now? I think mine's on the brink of dying.
You're looking to be in like the mid 400 horsepower to 500 horsepower range, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You could probably get a pretty decent converter, like a multi-disc billet cover, decent brand converter for like $800-900.
Okay.
Probably on the better side if you were on like the high side of 400s. Like, if you end up using like an 80 to 100% nozzle, I don't remember what we ended up talking about, but I'd probably go with something a little better. And you'd be looking at probably like the $1,200 to $1,300 range for the converter.
Okay.
Probably be a better choice.
It's not bad.
Yeah. The converters and then like the hard parts inside the transmission are really the most expensive.
Yeah. Well, I heard the guy on the last podcast talking about how it went from he could call one company and have it here either in a couple of hours or the next day, to where he's dedicated hiring one person to make phone calls to multiple manufacturers just to get a certain raw material. Yeah. And it'll take months to get. It's crazy.
Yeah, everything has gone up in price like crazy, and is getting harder to get. Yeah. Converters, I think, is one of the biggest things we're having problems with. Like, for the trans builders that we deal with all over the country, like a lot of them seem to be waiting on converters before they can ship transmissions. It seems to be one of the hardest things. And I don't know if getting like the raw material for like the the billet covers for like machining them, I don't know if that's what the issue is or what, but it seems like we hear all the time. It's like, yeah, we got transmission ready to go. Should have converters sometime in the next 1 to 2 months. Like, well, that's not that's not ideal.
That's sickening. Yeah. See, luckily, I will say, with my, now I'll say my industry, so window tinting, with my film brand, there was a time where about a month where my supplier, my Flex Films, my brand that I use, they were behind on film. They did really, really good on ordering what they needed as far as the raw material. And material in general. And they now are completely stocked and have been stocked after that one little mistake. I guess not really a mistake, just where they didn't order it in time to keep up with the demand, and then the supply issues.
Yeah.
So I mean, now if they see that they're starting to get a little low, instead of ordering their stuff from where they need to order it from and having it shipped here via a boat ship, it now comes on a plane and they pay the extra money for that product.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't kept up with shipping, like the actual ships, and do you know if the ports in California and Texas and Florida and stuff are still backed up by like months, or are they getting caught up?
I'm not sure. I can tell you that we went to Delaware this past weekend for an event, autism, tinting for autism,
Mhm.
and coming through Portsmouth, Virginia, it did look like, or not the Portsmouth, but the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
Mhm.
It did look like there was several shipping container ships that were chilling off the coast. I don't know what that was about. Maybe they were waiting for their time to come in or what, but
Yeah.
I remember seeing about 5 or 6 big, huge ships chilling out off the coast.
Yeah. It was crazy last fall when there was
Yeah,
like what 46 or 50
yeah,
cargo ships just sitting at the port in California.
chilling. Yeah,
Like holy crap,
they won't let them in.
that's a lot of material.
A lot of material that's not being let in because of the virus.
Yep. Well, that's all right. That it disappeared. So we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Well,
We got other things to worry about now.
restore as I cough. I'm kidding.
Man, it's a crazy world we live in, man.
Yep.
So is this like finishing touches on this thing? Almost?
Yeah, kind of. This was the well, I take that back. This is not the last one though. I do have to do a sun strip on it.
Okay.
Which is the little strip that goes across the top.
Do you have pre-cuts for that too, like in your design software,
Yeah.
or is that you cut it yourself?
For the most part, there are pre-cut designs, which is some of them are really good.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you're talking about trusting somebody's pre-cut that they uploaded into this program, and then you're also trusting a machine to cut it exactly how that person cut it. So sometimes they can be off, which sucks sometimes. But then like sometimes they don't do. So in North Carolina, in order for it to be legal to pass inspection, it can't go past that little AS1 line. Hopefully you can see that in the screen there. But so that sun strip's only going to be about that big.
Gotcha.
So hopefully the pattern that's in the program, they have one that is set to being legal like that. That one there, I think, is going to be too big.
So is that an open source program where anybody can make patterns and upload them, or is that does like a company manage it?
A company manages it, film and vinyl design. So like if I wanted to be let's say I got a 23 Volkswagen Jetta in here and there was no 23 Volkswagen Jetta patterns, I could hand cut it. I could then roll the patterns up, put them in a tube, and send them to Film and Vinyl Designs. They would inspect it. They would inspect the patterns, see what they look like, and if I was a well-known window tinter and they could validate that I knew what I was doing, they would then upload those patterns into the program. But just a random guy that's never really shown that they tint windows are probably not going to take their patterns. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're pretty strict. There is a monthly fee. I can get the word out for the program, and generally speaking, it's $12.50 a month, or $112.50 a month. And you get access to all these different patterns and stuff like that for window tint. They also have paint protection film patterns. There is an additional charge for that. But yeah, if I wanted to be a pattern producer for them, I would either need to ship them the patterns, or I would have to have a large scale format scanner. That way I could put the pattern on the scanner, it would scan it, and then I could load it to them and they could install it.
Gotcha.
I can design stuff on here. So like if I wanted to make something, so like I can make a big oval, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully camera can see that. I can design stuff, but then like if I wanted to send that to my customer because I designed something on this program, I'd have to send it to Film and Vinyl Designs. They would then have to take it out of their program and send it to me as a different file format so that I can give it to the customer. This way, they do that so that I can't just go in and take their window film patterns and create my own program,
right,
and upload those patterns into it. So other than putting the sleeps back in the door, I got to cut the sun strip out, stick the sun strip. Not sure how long you wanted to go with the video, but I'm good as long as all my batteries last.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be probably the longest recording we've ever done. Yeah, if you guys appreciate this video, feel free to leave a comment, send us an email to media@1020s.com. If you want to get your car tinted and you're in Smithfield or Smithville, I got it wrong last time too. Smithfield, North Carolina.
A baseball field.
You can get in touch with Extreme Shades, my man Haas Evans, his beautiful beard. If you can too, send me that video if you have it of your making fun of the Island Boys, like your parody video, and I'll add that to that part of the conversation too.
All right.
I appreciate you joining me, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, hopefully this drives a few more people to your channel too to see what you got going on.
Maybe. That'd be cool. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.